Good morning, everybody. I am just getting in from taking Mr. Apollo out. Today's the 21st. I can't believe, I'll tell you what, you guys. I have enjoyed Me Made May, but my energy is waning. I've enjoyed it a lot. All right, let's pop that up here. I'm trying to get my earbuds set up so that I can have my phone camera on for you guys too. So let's copy that. We're going to kind of be skipping between two different sewing machines today. We're going to be using my Bernina for part of the time, and then we're going to be using Gertie, my Sailrite fabricator, for part of the time too, because these quilted bags have a little bit of there's some chunk to them. So okay, I'm going to mute myself here because I have to do that to bring the other camera. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me. All right. Let's put this. Sorry, everybody. There we are. All right. Hopefully that'll work. And hopefully the phone stays charged. All right. So here's what we're doing today. How's everybody doing this morning? Hi, Cynthia. Welcome to my channel. This is Thunderbird Handcrafted with Genevieve. I am super excited to see everybody this morning. I know that these early morning lives aren't great for everybody, but if you are catching it on the replay, thanks for being here on the replay. Like I said, Me May has been an adventure of trying to go live or sew. I mean, sewing pretty much every day. I love sewing, but I will say my energy and creativity is waning. It's harder and harder to think about what to make, but we still do have some projects. You know, it's not like I have a maybe people have felt this. It's not like I have a no resource of patterns. There's a plethora of patterns that I own that I want to make, but it's definitely um, just like which one do you really want to do at this stage? And I feel like there's something on my face or in maybe it's on my screen. I don't know. It's on my screen. All right, so today we are going to be sewing the smaller version of the Stitchings by AJ Backpack Tote. It is a quilted tote, and it's so cute. I'm going to put the pattern here for you. And here's the pattern. Very easy to follow. Very minimal hardware that you need to use. And I think like now that I've made two of them, I think the one I do today, I'm going to change something up a little bit. But let me share with you the medium one that I've made. So this is the medium, and it's so fun. I really enjoyed quilting it. What I used on this one was a project panel, one of our book lover panels. I used some Kona cotton for the coordinate, and then on the inside, I used some dyed fabric. It is a bound bag, so we'd also use some binded and dyed. But what's nice about this is you can wear it as a tote. Like I said, this is the medium, so this is a nice size tote, okay? Has two nice deep pockets on the side, and then there's a pocket on the inside. But you can also wear it as a backpack, which is super fun. So this is the AJ Backpack Tote from the Stitching Spot, and I really enjoyed it. So if you have any of our book lover panels, this is a great bag to make with it. You can quilt the sailcloth canvas that our book lover panels or project panels are. The fabric, it's a nice sturdy bag fabric, but you can still quilt on it and make it look really, really nice. So I used our smooth as butter panel for this one. All right, so that's what we're sewing today. But for this one, we're using one of our quilt lover panels. And it's the quilt lover panel that we created that's called A Woman's Place. So this is all quilted. That's what I was doing free motion quilting the other day, thanks to Brittany and many of you who were supporting me in my free motion journey. All right, so we are going to be using this today. I'm trying to find where I shoved the pattern yesterday when I was cleaning up my mess. So just hold on one second. Oh, it's behind here. All right. Well, we're gonna be using my Bernina for now. We're using butter binded and dyed, which we're gonna need in a little bit. We're gonna need our webbing. And don't mind me, it's rainy out and allergy season is here for sure. All right, I'm gonna move all my tools over. All right, we can move you guys here for now. And I think here's the pattern. Here we are. All right, so let's piece this together. We had a really bad thunderstorm last night. And one of the reasons I didn't go live last night was because even though all my machines are on a power strip, it was cracking. It was cracking. All right, so now I think we have everything that we ready to go here. So I'm just trying to find what page I'm on now. So now we're going to start piecing everything together. I don't know if well, we'll give it a try. We'll give it a try over here. I don't know. I like binding my bags more on my fabricator than on my domestic. Probably it's the control, I think, really is what I like about it. So we'll see. We're gonna color is this? There we go. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stay stitch down our pockets onto our exteriors so that, and then also like onto the interior inside as well. So we'll do that from here with but this one's theme is the handmade scale. Yeah, there we go. So that's why I use those tags. And I'm just doing 1/8 of an inch stay stitch all the way around because you are binding this. Okay, there's one piece. And the next one. And I like I don't think we have any more of the butter by the yellow binding and guide. That's definitely one that I need. Oh, bless me. Excuse me, you guys. Thread here. I think the next pattern we're going to do, I do have another piece of apparel cut out, but I might wait till next week to do that because it's going to be a short, easy one. And I figure for the next 2 days, because tomorrow night, I think we're going to go live, and Saturday night, I think we'll do another bag. I have another bag pattern that I really want to do. So I think it'll look good with the linen cotton that we have on pre-order. So that's the plan, is I want to make a bag using that. What's nice about the quilt lover panels and the book lover panels is it's pretty economical. You're getting a lot of different options to create projects. So, you know, if you're looking for ways to be a little bit more economical with your fabric purchases, you know, the quilt lover panels and the book lover panels, those were kind of my idea around those, was to make it, because with our eco-friendly printing, you know, it's not easy to create things that are good margin for people. So that's kind of my goal is with those, is something that allows you to make more things, multiple things, the most bang for your buck. All right, so now we have the inner pocket. Now what we're going to do is, so this is the bottom. All right, now we're going, I have to remember here, because you're binding it from the inside. So I want to stitch this down, so right sides together. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I'm like sniffling like crazy. Marilyn, you're a fabricator girl. That's awesome. I love my fabricator. I'm so happy I got it when I did, even though I didn't know all the things I could do with it. This rain, and I'm allergic to like mold spores and stuff, and so this is prime sneezy season for me. That might have been when I had like the storm and everything. Last night I had like a really bad headache. Kind of woke up with a little bit of one too. Okay. Oh, let's fix that piece of my. All right. This one might be not too bad. I might be able to bind this one here on my domestic. Now the other one, like I said, I used one of our book lover panels, project panels, which is a sailcloth canvas. Sailcloth is still domestic friendly, I would say. I think that by also having the quilt cotton and then the Kona on top of that, it made it a little bit more beefier when I was putting everything together. that I'm sure this could handle it. I'm just so used to binding over on my fabricator. But I feel like our quilt lover panels, they're all Kona, and I feel like that made this a little bit, this is a little thinner of a seam. So maybe I can bind it on here, but we're just gonna stitch our gusset together here, like so. Can't wait. Next week I go to get my hair cut. It needs it so bad. That's why I've been putting it on the top of my head so much. That might have been some of my headache issue is my hair is so heavy. Once it gets a certain length, I have to get it cut or it's weird. I don't know if anybody's ever like when your hair hurts. Anybody else have that their hair hurts occasionally? All right, so there's our inside. Now for the binded and dyed, when we're binding. So this is how I do it. All right. So I'm using the 1 1/4 inch binded and dyed. To this is a twill tape. So it has a bi weave. So every about a 1/4 inch, it's a little bit more than a 1/4 inch. Every little line here is in a different direction if you've never used twill tape. I personally love it for binding because it has a little bit of stretch because of that bi weave, but not so much stress that it's going to bunch up your projects, which I find happens with that the binding elastic. I don't like it. So and ours is all hand dyed. So I'm just going to clip this. We're going to see how this does here. If I can bind it here without it getting crazy. So I'm just doing a 1/4 inch. And then all I'm going to do, so you can, and I probably will here, I like using a little bit of double-sided tape. What's nice about this too is double-sided tape will hold it for you versus others you have to be using your clips and your stiletto the whole time. You can put just a thin little thing of double-sided tape and it will hold the binding and dyed because it is cotton and not a synthetic. So I'm just gonna fold that over. You can use binding and dyed for quilts. All right, so now I'm just gonna stitch right along the ditch there and it'll catch it on the other side. And there you can see how it looks, how the binding looks. That's the other side. Nice and flush, nice and straight. No bunching. I'm just going to clip off the edges there. I'm hoping I have enough of the yellow to get this done. All right, now we're going to do the other side. Okay. And we do sell the binded and dyed in 1 1/4 inch as well as 1 inch. And this summer we're adding 3/8 of an inch so that you can use it for ties, cinched bags, heat clips, those sorts of things. All right. And I get all my double-sided tape from Waywack. It's just easier when I have other orders, and it works good. I used to get a lot of my double-sided tape from Sailrite too if I had an order to place. Sometimes I'll just grab. I do like theirs, because it's a little bit grippier and my fabricator can handle that. So, all right. Now we're gonna just go a little bit in. And there you can see how that binding turned out. Everything was caught. Everything looks good. So there's our gusset pieces. Now, what's next? Next, we're going to be, all right, we already did that part. I already put the inside pocket on. All right, so now we're going to be working on our webbing and our connectors for the handle part. Okay, I'm going to set this is going to get set aside for now. And we're going to grab this piece here. This is the back with the pocket. And I need a ruler. And I need 2 of my pieces that I have here of webbing. And I'm going to need 2 of my slider connectors. So this is where I really should go and use my fabricator. But I think, so this is the one thing I've realized, and I really like this pattern, but for a lot of, and I don't want to say it's just quilters, but if you haven't been bag making for a while, you might not know, like just burning down these edges is going to keep it from fraying, right? So you have to either like fold it up, right, to create that there is nothing that could fray on the outside, which makes more thickness. So I think what we're going to do, I think we're going to move this part to the fabricator just because I don't like doing it on my domestic. I like doing it over on Birdie. So let's move you guys over this way so you can see what's going on from that angle. All right, and we're going to turn you around here so you can see my fabricator. Turn Miss Gertie on. Anybody else name their machines? She's a little dusty right now. She needs a good cleaning. I need to thread her with the proper color. All right. Actually cooled down a little bit here with this rain, which is nice. I have my narrow foot on my fabricator. That's what I keep it on the majority of the time. I don't change my feet. Oh, and she's just getting harder and harder to thread, I feel. Nana eyes. Come on. Oh no, we need to trim a little bit off here. Was there something stuck in the... What the world? Oh, Apollo sees some kitties. Oh my gosh, you guys, I can't thread a needle today. There, goodness gracious. Let me change out the bobbin. I was using pastel. Ooh, slippery, you little sucker. This is pastel yesterday. All right, what am I going to use? I'm trying to use up some of my bobbins because I don't have any free. So we're going to use this like peachy color because that's going to go with everything. All right. All right. So now I have my 2 lengths of, and I think what I'm going to do, so this one here will be for the backpack strap piece. So I'm just going to fold it under like so. All right. Because this end here is going to go inside the bag. So I'm just going to put a clip here and we're just going to stitch it across, back and forth so that it's good and sturdy. Okay. And I just try to stay in that same line. Okay. And then I'll tie these off on the edges. It's really unique that she used all sliders for the hardware. I had never seen that done before. Oh, and of course, Jenna, we put it backwards. We're not doing too hot this morning, everybody. Oh, oh my. I'm sorry. Everything is fixable, you guys. Everything. Okay. I think that that's the one. That's my unique trait as a YouTuber is you're never gonna see probably a live video or a recorded one for that matter, but I'm not fixing something. I saw this morning that there's a woman locally who is teaching sewing classes, that she started a nonprofit for teaching sewing. I thought that's really cool. I used to teach cooking classes at a local nonprofit. So I thought it was neat. She like had a thing at the we don't have very many libraries close to us, which is a shame, but she was teaching a pillowcase class locally, which I thought was fun. Okay. Oh, all right, let's try this again. All right, correct direction of the slider. All right, we're gonna just fold it under just like we did. This stuff over here. I'm gonna clip it. All right, now let's see if we can do this again. I'm just gonna use my lighter to burn down those, if my lighter wants to work. My lighter, oh, there it is. Thought maybe it was out. All right, so there's one. We're gonna do the other one. Okay. I'm just folding it down about 1/2 of an inch. And this webbing is really pretty. I'm pretty sure this is webbing I got from Idle Blooms, possibly. I had ordered some zipper pulls from her, and I think this is some that she had sent me. All right. All right, so there's those two. Now we need to also do 2 more. Do I have the other? I'm gonna do 2 more, which, where did I set? Did I do them all? Oh, I don't know where, oh, there it is, right in front of me. Okay, so now these here are gonna be going on the back of the backpack and they're not going into any seams. So what we're gonna do is you could do one of 2 things. So you could do like I did on the bigger one. So the bigger one, because it was woven, I had to do that. So I took some vinyl and I trimmed the bottom edge of my webbing so that it won't fray. Okay. Did it back here too. Like this is where we're going to be putting it on right now. So you could do that if you wanted to, but since this is more like synthetic webbing, I think we're just going to fold it under a little bit, like so. And I'm just going to stitch that because then I'm going to stitch it all down with a square. So before we do that, we're going to do just like we did the other. Okay. Okay. All right, so now we have those done. Now we're going to get our back panel piece. Okay. Hey, Nicole. Good morning. Good morning. Ooh, volume 2 quilt cake stars. They are a challenge. Oh my, yes. I think I got those two, and those were the ones that I tried to do one, and I was like, I threw it away because I was like, ah. All right. So now we're gonna make our same measurements. Let's see. Here we are. Mark 2.5 down from the top edge, 2 from the side. So we're gonna do 2.5 by 2. All right. So right here. And then we're gonna do the same over here. 2.5 by 2. That doesn't look right, Jenna. I thought that was probably not right over here. 2.5 is there. 2.5 by 2. There we go. Okay. So now this is what I do to do something like this. So I have my connector. I grab my really big, chunky, double-sided tape. Okay, a piece that's the length of this. I'm going to fold up this bottom edge, okay, and I'm going to put my double-sided tape that's going to hold it in place. All right, and I'll put this other little piece here. All right, so there's one. I'm going to do the same with the other one. Okay, see if they're the same. Okay. Okay. All right, so there I have these two that are going to go. Find my markings. It's hard to do when you have dark fabric. There it is. All right, so I'm going, that's where the top of my slider, well, the bottom of my slider, the kind of the top of this is going to go right on those marks. So, like so. And then we're going to stitch our box. And I commend the stitching spot for this pattern because she has the directions on how to do your Xbox, which I find every time I go to do it, I forget how to do it. Like it's one of those things that's just like, I know how to do this, but I keep forgetting how to do it when it's time to do it. And she actually has in her instructions and I feel like everybody who wants you to use the Stitching X should provide you with that instruction because every time you go to use it, your brain forgets it. At least mine does. All right, so now we have both of those on there, like so. And now we're gonna make our box. So we're gonna get our thread out of the way. And I'm gonna put my needle down in, okay? And I'm on my hardware right now in the back, so I'm gonna need to kind of move this so that sometimes I'll do a couple cranks. Okay, so down, over, okay. Now we're going to go up. No, 1, 2, 3. She has it color coded too. I'm gonna go across. Okay. Now we're going to go across the top. We're turning it this way. Okay. Now we're going to go down. I'm sure there's multiple ways to do this. Now we're coming back down and we're going to go up. And then I like going back across the top again because that's really the area that you want. I mean, the bottom is important to be secure too, but you do really want that top to be secured again. Okay. And then if you can, pull your threads through from the other side, which I can. Come on. And we're going to knock those off. Okay, so there's that one. Now we're going to do the other side, starting at the top again. Across the bottom. Diagonal. Right? Yep. Today is well, it's the last day of school for her kids in her classroom. It's not her last day. She'll have to go in and get everything cleaned up for the year, but today's the last day for her kids. She is taken in a little party and they're making little terrariums in her class. Okay. All right, so there's our two connectors here. Now we're going to measure up an inch. I did an inch and actually an inch and a quarter instead of just an inch. But we want to connect our connectors along the side here too. So right in front of you, Jenna. So I'm going to mark that so that I can connect those. So we're just going to do that on an angle like so, okay? And I'm just going to go right along the edge because this is going to get bound, right? And this is way thinner than my woven, which was a little harder when it came time to do the binding, right? So I'm just going to clip that off. And then this one here, we're going like so. Make sure I'm at the same angle. All right. Oh, come on. What are you stuck on, girlfriend? Okay. Lovely. There's a thread caught in my bobbin casing. Well, you're going to get to see. I don't know if anybody else. I feel like everybody I know that has a fabricator, everybody's has a quirk. This is mine's quirk. Sometimes thread gets stuck in the bobbin area. I should have oiled it before we started. Don't look too, and I always have to get my vice grips in and kind of move it through. There we go. There she goes. Okay. Let go now. Okay. Well, while we have her open, let's give her a good. She does need a really bad cleaning. That's all happening in June. All my machines are going to get serviced or cleaned. This one here, where DJ always helps me with changing the oil and cleaning it out. But that's my fabricator's quirk. All right. Now, where's my bobbin thread? She seems to like to do that with the thinner, like this is a little bit thinner thread. She seems to like it to do it the most with that. Okay. All right. So now what I'm going to do, find my good scissors here to cut this. I'm going to cut these down to make them flush, but then also, burn that edge so that it doesn't fray. Melt it down a little bit. All right. So now we have our back connectors all set up. Now We have to think about the opposite side. I have to read here. All right, so now we're going to mark this one. So we're 2.5. There's 1, 2. So those are my 2 marks for in the front. And now I need to cut my webbing. So we're going to use this over here. And I'm going to do a little bit more. I'm going to do like 30. It calls for 30 inches. I'm going to do 31 just because we're folding things under. Okay. By that 1/2 of an inch. Okay. All right. I'm burning these edges down. Anybody have picnic plans for the weekend or Monday? I was thinking, I don't know, like I'm going to be doing the lives over the weekend too. And I was like, I wonder if anybody is even going to be around. But people can watch the replays. But I think we're going to do the Can Do Craft Crescent bag tomorrow and Saturday. Like that's what we'll work on. And then next week, I have an apparel piece. Like I'll be live on Tuesday. Like we're almost done with Me Made May. I can't believe it. At the same time, I'm ready for the little bit of a break. I'm actually ready for vacation. I'm excited to go on this trip with my girlfriend. All right, so I'm gonna add some double-sided tape again. I'm just gonna put that across so those are folded over. What is Gunther into? Gunther, I just heard something fall in my bedroom, which means Mr. Gunther. He's a stinker. All right. So now let me move this out of the way. You're going to your mama's tomorrow? Well, that's fun. That'll be fun. Good food. As I think, like I said, we're going to Knoebels, which did you guys, well, if you're not from Pennsylvania, you probably don't know. But what's cool is Knoebels was just like voted by TripAdvisor, was just voted the best park in, I think, the world because it beat out Disney. Um, but don't overcrowd it because then it won't be then it won't be the best uh, park in the world. All right. Oh, this is gonna be pretty. I like that I used this floral. All right. So now we're gonna do our X's again. I'm gonna start about here, do an X here, and then we have our front. I kind of feel like it's a little bit too, sometimes I like adjusting where my straps are just because I feel like it's very close. But this is a smaller bag. Just gonna move it over slightly. Okay. Okay. There's one. Okay. Let's do the other side. My son's working on 3D printing stuff for all of our kits for the year. He he's like, he already ran out of one of his color filaments and was like, I think we need to reorder some. And I was like, why don't you wait until you've made everything of what you have, and then we'll place another order for a filament to save on shipping. He's like, oh, that's a good idea. So it's fun to see him learning some of that. Like, you don't always need to keep doing what you're doing. Like, sometimes it makes more sense economically, financially, right? To use what you have. So, but he's making some cool stuff. I'm excited for people to get the new kits and to have the things that he's making, and he's really proud of it too. So that's really fun. This rain is good for my lettuce and my garden in the back. I was when we had those really hot days, I was like, oh, already things are going to be wilting on me. And I did see that one of our local, I need to pick up strawberries this weekend. I might do that this weekend. We might make some strawberry jam or something because I think everybody's is in season. All right, so there's my handle on that side. Here we go. All right, now let's see. Now we're going to trim around the corner of these two panels. All right, so I'm going to lay them on top of each other, all right? And then you can use whatever you want. I usually use like the inside of one of my little, wherever I can find the size circle that we're wanting. Um, I know I have templates, but pulling them out is, they're right here, really. Don't need to, but this works just fine too. So we're going to round our bottom corners, okay? I'm just going to lay that on top of each other. Okay, and then I do want to find my centers on the bottom of each of these. All right, and we're going to find our center on here, on the bottom of our gusset. All right, and I'm going to do the back first. And we're going to lay it down like so. Find some clips. So I'm going to get like 3 clips here in the center. All right. And then I'm going to match it up on the sides on the top. So I'm going to bring these to meet. I don't know if you guys can see. All right. I'm going to do the other side. All right, so now you can see like here I have this curve, and that like right where that curve is where my binding should be, and it's really your choice to decide like do you want it to turn the one direction or to turn the opposite. And so I just kind of look to see which way looks like it's the best, and then I just make sure that that's the way that I did for the whole thing. Okay. Just put a bunch of clips there to hold everything in place. All right, so now, yeah, all right, so we don't need this right now. Move this out of the way. So now I'm going to come down in, I'm just going to do a basting stitch, so like 1/8 of an inch right along the edge to be holding everything together. And then we're going to bind it. You could use your stiletto too if there's like areas you need to hold it. I did find that like quilted bags are the definitely, I find I need to hold more with a quilted bag than like vinyls or things like that. And then, like I said, once you get down here at these curves, just kind of like position it the way you would like it to go. Because it is a bit of a hump. Let me put my needle in there. Turn it. There we go. I think the reason I like binding on my fabricator is I'm able to slow things down a lot more with the fabricator. Okay. Now, I just want to check that everything was caught. So that's the other thing. When you're only going that, you want to definitely check your rounded corners that everything was caught. It looks good. Okay, now we're going to bind it. And so I leave my binding on the roll. I'm probably going to have to top this bag with a different color binding. I have a feeling because I don't have any more of the yellow. But the yellow just looks so good. So let's say a prayer. Hopefully we have enough. All right. I'm just gonna pull it taut, all right, and I kind of follow right on the inside of this first line that is in the weave of the binding. Okay. And as you get down here in the corner, I just want to kind of get everything in the position that it needs to be. This is where I'll probably use my stiletto to hold the binding at the edge, okay? And go around the curve. we go. Okay, so now I'm going to trim off the binding at the top there. I think we'll have enough for just the other side. I'm going to have to figure out what I'm doing. I have some pink, I think I'll do for the top. I think I'll have just enough of the dusty rose. All right, so now we're going to, I put the double-sided tape right along where I stitched. Okay. The opposite side. Okay. Make sure all of that's stuck down. Trim my threads here. Come on. Okay. So then I like to do my corners first, because if you have to trim down a little bit for your corners, it's totally okay, to make sure everything lays nice. That looks good. Especially with because you have this binding in there too, so you might need to trim it down a little bit. Okay, so now we're gonna come back on this side and we're gonna stitch right along next to it. When we get down to these corners, I like to just double check how it's folded over. There we go. Okay. See how it looks. Perfect. Everything's stitched down good. Pocket. Let's turn it out. Oh yeah. Looks good. All right. All right, next we're going to do the front. Same way. Your binding intrigues me. Oh, Marilyn, thank you. Yeah, there's a lot, I feel like if you've been in garment sewing, you probably know what twill tape is. And a lot of garment sewers use it to bind, like to do your collars and things like that. You can totally use it for binding like a small quilt. Twill tape is used for so many different things in sewing, but I feel like a lot of bag makers, like it's not something that's been talked a lot about, at least from what I've seen. And we dye it all different colors throughout the summer, so there'll be more colors popping up over the next few weeks as we start dye season. But I really like it because it has just enough stretch to be able to do some of these thicker seams, but not so much that you have to be worried about it bunching. And you don't have to make it yourself if you were making like cotton binding. You don't have to make it yourself. And with doing it ice dyed, it has a variegated color look, so it doesn't have to be the exact same fabric as what you used. So thank you for the order. All right. We'll be packing up some orders tomorrow, so I'll be sending it out to you then. All right. Which way do I want to go here? This way. All right, so I'm going to kind of fold this in because again, I want to, when I get to these corners, I want to make sure that it's curved. All right. And we're just going to stay stitch this with about 1/8 of an inch, maybe a little bit more. it's also nice and soft, you know, so like, you know, your quilt cotton is nice and soft if you're making your own, of course. But, you know, I do feel like also with zippers, the other thing that I found, because I have used the elastic binding. If your binding is near a zipper, which many times, like some of the bags, especially some of the slings that are out there now, if that binding, the elastic binding, is right by the zipper, over time, that zipper is going to rub that elastic and it'll start fraying or catching. I have not found that with any of the bags that I've made where my binding is right up against the zipper. So that also is nice. But it'll take a little bit of a, you know, abrasiveness against it with a zipper. And like I said, you can use it for so many other things. It doesn't just have to be a binding in your sewing kit, you know, like if you do an apparel pattern, you can use it for the trim on your collar. If you do like a cinched bag, you can use it for the cinching. I wouldn't recommend it unless you're doubling it up for like straps. I have used it with like to make peekaboo straps, where you like take your vinyl or your thicker piece and you lay the binded and dyed down and then fold over, and the binded and dyed is like peekaboo through the strap. I have used it that way for straps. Oh, my bobbin went. All right, what do we got? Right at the end, of course. Okay. Now I want to check again where my curves are. I want to check and make sure I caught everything. Looks good there. And that one. Looks good there. Okay. All right. So now we can do the binding. All right. So I'm going to grab my binding. I'll lay it up against it. And like I said, you do want to put a little bit of stretch. You know, like you do want to pull it a little bit, make it taut. You don't, I mean, you don't want to like super stretch it, but you want it to be a little taut. And then, because like I said, it has that little bit of stretch in it to help you. I know a lot of people don't like doing like what I'm doing is a fold over, like a traditional binding of like stitching it down first and then folding it over. That's why we carry the 1 inch as well. If you just want to fold it and stitch it, that's, an option too. I just think this creates such a nice clean look, so that's what I like to do. In any of our new binding, we're only going to be doing 6-yard cuts because we found that, that's what, you could do multiple projects. That's what a lot of what we sold the most of was the 6-yard cuts. That the 3-yard cuts we, really didn't sell as much as the 6-yard ones. So any new colorways will only have 6-yard cuts, which also does mean to a certain extent we will have less quantities of SKUs. So when you see a color you like, this as we start releasing them, I would recommend grabbing it. How much do we got? That's not going to be enough, I don't think, to do the top. All right. So now, put our double-sided tape. And there's been times where I haven't used double-sided tape, but I have found using the double-sided tape allows me to not have as much of the mistakes that I have had in the past. So if it works, why not use it? Oh, you got the sale right, but oh yeah, let me know how it works. Yeah, yeah. Cool. Cool, cool. Yes. I have a bunch, like I have the one attachment, well, the one foot I really like is the cording attachment for my fabricator. Um, you can also use the binding and die to make your own cording. Am I saying that piping? The piping foot. So here, I'll show you. So I have some made. So I just have the rope on the inside of this, and you make your own piping. So it's also really good for that too. Um, if you want to practice your piping or you have bags that you want to do piping on. I did piping on my Hellcat crossbody, and it turned out very nice. Even right around the zipper, it worked very nice. Okay, I'm gonna trim this a bit. I think this one's okay, but okay. All right, so I'm gonna do my corners first and kind of see where they're at. Okay. We're gonna go around and stitch it down. Make sure my corners are covered. Okay. See how it looks. All stitched down. All right. Let's turn this puppy right side out. This is a cute, like, small size. It's not uber small, right? Kind of pushing everything in the right direction. Oh, how cute. All right. So here we are so far. All of our seams look really good. That's the other thing I like about this bind and dyed is it also, I don't know if it's because it is a woven cotton, it just gives it a little bit more structure. I don't know. Like where you've turned it. All right, so now we got to do, we're going to bind our top, but I have to find, hopefully, I don't think there's enough. Oh, there is. Okay. All right, there's enough. All right, so I'm going to start at the back. And the other thing that I love about this binding is it's very easy to turn, like to make your edges nice, or where your seams are. So because it's 1¼ inches, right? You would do this with a 1 inch too. So I'm going to measure a 1¼ inches, all right? I'm going to make a marking there, and then I'm just going to make another mark because that's where my stitches are going to start. I've showed this a few times, and I do have another video on my channel with it, but if you've never turned, like, instead of just doing a seam where that binding is, we're going to make it nice and like flush, all right? So I'm going to just clip that on like so. All right. Probably could do this on my other, but we'll do it here. All right. So now I just want to see, I want to turn my, like my binding, I want to turn it inwards so that my sides are going to look nice. So when I go over it, they're going to be turned that direction. Okay. Oh, and here I have a little bit of a overhang. I'm going to clip that off. Okay. And then I do want to put, so I'm going to turn that binding in there. And now I want to put my little tag, little woven label with my logo on. I'm going to put that in this binded top. So I'm going to put my double-sided tape on. I'm going to stick it right here in the corner as my earbud gets ready to fall out. Oh, I swear, my ear does not, and I have the biggest like earpiece thing in there. I must have big ears or big ear holes. I don't know what it is. All right, so just trying to get this webbing out of the way. There we go. Right. Okay, so I'm coming around the other side here. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim where this is lining up with that first mark that I made. I'm going to trim my binded and dyed right just a little bit past there. Losing? My ear does not want to hold this thing today. All right. And then where the end of the binded and dyed is there, I'm going to make a mark. Okay. And then I'm going to make a stopping mark that's about a half an inch away from it. And that's where I'm going to stop my stitching. Oh, you guys, I'm using up bind. Look how long I was stitching with. Well, it's okay. Oh, babe. I said I wanted to use up some of these bobbins, so that's what we're doing. I should order some more, but when that's really the only thing you need, it's like, I appreciate those of you who follow me and join me. Because sometimes I know there's way more professional people for you to follow. All right. I shouldn't say professional. I'm professional and just I'm using what I got. All right. Let's try this again. Hopefully I didn't cut that off at a place that isn't going to work. Now I think we're okay. Yeah, we're good. All right, so where that mark is, my stopping mark, I'm going to stop and I'm going to back stitch. Okay. Let me find, I'm going to just trim all my stitches here, my threads. All right, so now I have these two tails. I'm going to turn this one up this direction. This one's going to stay the direction it was. I'm going to lay them flat like so. All right. And now, and the reason I said to give yourself some extra is depending on what type of bag you're doing, this one isn't as bad, but if you're doing like the inside of a bag, this is where sometimes it can be tricky, so leave yourself some slack. I'm just going to sew the diagonal like you would for binding, okay, right down the center of that. Okay. And now you can see this is going to lay exactly the right amount of binding. I'm going to clip this, okay, but it's going to lay exactly the way we need it to lay. Okay, so now I'm just going to finish stitching this across. And now when we turn it, it's going to lay really nice on the inside too. See? Okay. Now we can top. I usually use my stiletto for this since I'm not using any double-sided tape. And we'll start in the back here. And go all the way around. And I usually try to make sure, like, especially this part, I'm like tucked in there. Okay. I like this too. Like, I didn't need to make a separate binding for my like tops, my trim area. I could use the same all the way through the bag. Okay. And everything's down all the way around. Looks good. Pull my stitches through. Okay. Now we just have to do our back strap. But there, and we have to do our snaps, put our snaps on. So let's make our back strap. So that's done. All right, so I have the rest of my webbing there. And I need to find the other hardware, you guys. There it is. Okay. Don't feel bad. I'm cutting out a Bible bag and cut the lining irregular instead of my enlarged size. Oh, girl. I hear ya. Sometimes when you're cut, like the measuring part of things, that definitely that definitely gets me. All right, so I don't know how I want to show this. Like maybe if I do it this way, you guys can see. So now this is the way this backpack strap is set up. So I have my other slider piece here. What I did is I took to help me keep this correct. All right. So you're going to go up through, okay, and then down through, and that's going to create your handle over there, okay? But that way, I hopefully kept everything straight. Now we're going to go through this. You wouldn't have to use sliders. To be very honest, I feel like if you just had rectangle rings, I'm just going off of what she had done in the pattern, okay? Sorry, not through this one yet. So we're going to go through this, all right? And we're going to go through this. And with my woven webbing, these sliders that I have were definitely a little thin. I should have had thicker ones. So now I'm just making two loops. So I came up through here, down through here, in through the bottom one, then back up through the top and back in through the bottom. All right. And now what we're going to do is I'm just going to do a half fold. Let me burn this down a little bit more. A half fold. And we're going to stitch. This is where it gets tricky. We're going to stitch that down. So I'm just going to hold it with some clips until I get the other one done. All right. So again, I'm taking this side now, going in through here, down through here. Okay. Then I'm going to come over to this one, go in through. Okay. Then go up through the top again and down through the bottom again. And I'm just going to do a half fold. Pull that tighter. And we're going to stitch that across. And flip it in place for now. Okay. So this can feel tricky, but as long as you have some slack, you'll be okay. So I'm just going to pull this to the side like so. All right. I try to like hold everything flat. And we're just going to stitch across, try to keep everything straight. Okay, there's one side. I'm just going to bring it all the way down so I have enough of slack for the other side. There we go. Okay. There we go. And there's our straps. So now let me fix it so that we're correct here. So there we have how we can make it into a tote or into a backpack. But we have to put our little snaps on first. All right. Come over here to the cutting table to do that. All right, so I really didn't follow any of the measurements for this part. I just kind of eyeballed it for what I wanted. So I'm finding where my binded seams are, all right, kind of matching those up. And I took a clip and clipped it, all right. And then I'm going to fold it where those seams are. And I took a clip and clipped that. And then the same way on this side, I found where the seams are, folded it in. And clip that, okay? Because that's how you want the bag to look when you're all finished, right? Okay, so here's what I did. I found my center. And I think this here is like 5, well, on the bigger one it was. Let me see what it is on this one. So it's 4.5 between the two. So it's going to be 2.25 is my center. So that's right there. I need my marking pen. Sounds like my father-in-law is mowing, or, oh no, across the street they're mowing. Oh, that makes me sad because the brush was like really being a home for a bunch of different types of birdies. All right, so I have my plastic snap, my hole punch. Let's decide what color plastic snaps. The yellow, I feel like I should stick with yellow because the pink in this, in my thing, is a little bit too pink. So I'm going to punch this hole that I have my marking on. Okay. And then that's what I'm going to use to mark into the other side where the mark is going to be for the other snap. Okay. And I want the female end. Oh, now Apollo sees them. Like, you're too close to my house. Sorry if he's getting another. Oh no, he's gonna howl too. All right. There's the first snap. This would be just a cute little travel bag, I think. All right, so now what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna line this up. It's, I think what I did for the other one will work for this one because this is where I want it to snap so that I went an inch underneath where my binding was and marked it. An inch and a half. I'm gonna do an inch and a half on the, like an inch down, but then an inch and a half in from the corner. I'm sure she gives measurements, but this is the type of thing I do is we're gonna just figure it out. Okay. And okay. Oop, wrong direction, Jenna. Now I know you fell in there. Okay. This way. Oh, did I break it? Will it work? Oh, I did break it. Thankfully, plastic snaps are pretty easy to pull off without ruining anything. Not like metal ones. I swear, my ears. Stay. Oh, now the back came off, but the front didn't. There we go. Let's try that one again. There we go. All right, now that snaps. All right, so now this one here, I want to do the same thing. I want to do an inch down and an inch and a half in, just right there. Okay. Okay. Last little bit and we're done. These are cute bags. I really want to make the big one, but I want to do like actually like piece quilted. This would be a really cool one too for like a foundation paper piece on the front. I feel like you could do so much with it. Okay. Come on. Oh, hold on a second. There we go. There's that snap. That snap. Hold on, I need to tighten these a little bit. Okay. So there's the small version. How cute. Nice little day tote, right? And this is the medium, so you guys can see up close to each other. This is the medium, this is the small. So the large is going to be a nice size for sure. Almost like an overnight backpack, I would think. But they turned out really cute. Oh, I highly recommend this pattern, you guys. All right, so there we have it. Our Me Made May 21st. The AJ Backpack Tote, medium and small. There is a large. I highly recommend the pattern. This is using one of our quilt lover panels that's on pre-order. This is using one of our book lover panels that's on pre-order, as well as Kona, our binded and dyed. I really think you could change up a little bit of your hardware if you wanted to and not use all sliders. I feel like up top here, like this here, you wouldn't need a slider. You could just use a rectangle ring. The same way with down here, you could just do uh, 4 rectangle rings and 1 slider. So cute, 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 cute. I really enjoyed the whole process of this, from the free motion quilting to sewing all of them. Fun, fun sew. All right, everybody. Well, I hope you all have a great rest of your Thursday. I hope you're getting to do something fun this weekend. Like I said, tomorrow I will be live around 7, I think, is when I'm going to go live. I want to cut, if I don't get it today, we might actually just be cutting out the pattern, but I think I probably will get around to cutting it out tomorrow. We're going to do, where's the pattern? I'll show you what I'm planning on doing. Where'd I put it? That's this pattern. Did I set it? I did set it over there. I plan on doing this one. So this is what I plan on doing next, and I plan on using some of our linen cotton that we have on pre-order right now. So this is the crescent crossbody from Can Do Crafts over on Etsy. I've done a lot of her patterns. I really like how they come together. So I'm excited to, and I think the linen cotton with this, because I see a lot of people posting that they were looking for slouchy bags, and I think the linen cotton, I'm not going to interface it. I think we might leave it on interfaced, and that way see like how slouchy, and do we still get the silhouette, because the linen cotton isn't as stiff as our linen cotton canvas, but I think it'll give it like that slouchy crescent bag look. So we're going to give it a try. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. So I'm excited to do that with you guys. I hope you have a great rest of your Thursday. Thanks for joining me. Remember, our pre-order is going through May 31st. The 31st is the last day for the pre-order. If you want any of the designs, any of our panels that we have, make sure that you get your pre-order in. And then the shipping date for the pre-order will be the first week of July. So you will have your pre-order fabrics this summer. So you won't have to be waiting for them to. It's a good time, actually, when I think about it, like you're going to be getting those fabrics so that if you are doing markets, if you are doing anything like early fall-ish, this would be a good time to kind of plan for some of those things. So, all right, I'm going to go have some lunch, see what my hubby's up to, and keep going on the day here. All right, have a great one, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.